Before we knew it, it was a few hours later. It's a good show.
Scheisse.
Just the beginning.
Hold on a second.
Yeah, I'm a little bit too late. Oh. All good.
Okay. I'm going to right now. This is new to me. We haven't done a live stream to YouTube like this before. And I don't know if we were actually live to the channel yet.
It only just popped up for me.
Okay. So that was my fault. We're going to start again.
Well, screw my bit then.
Go back to bed.
Rewind.
Going back. I know, right?
I'm going to
Hold
play
on, hold on. I gotta get back to it. Come here. You were the cute
All right, there we go. Like, second time's a charm. Welcome to the live episode of the Replayer Podcast, where we totally just didn't do a false take on the intro of the show because I didn't realize I didn't hit the button to make this stream go live. So welcome to this live episode of the Replayer Podcast. Joining me to talk about the Game Awards and our reactions are Patrick and Louis. Hello, guys. Welcome to the show.
Hello, hello. Fourth time's the charm. Let's go.
Yes.
I just woke up. Excuse me. Get away from me.
Bye, cat.
Okay, that works good. Nah, she's fine. Thank you, baby. Nah. Anyway, hi.
Hi.
That's what I look like now. Now I can't see you again. Okay, let's do it.
All right, so now that we're actually live to the YouTube channel now, I'm going to repeat these things that I just said. Pagan couldn't join us this week for this special live episode because it's very late for her over in the Ireland, I should say, the Ireland. But yeah, so Louis and Patrick have joined us this week to talk about last night's Game Awards and some of the big news, the big reveals, and some things that I'm really excited about and I can't wait to get into. I have a personal perspective on the Game Awards that I wanted to just address that I definitely don't think the Game Awards is an end all when it comes to video game awards. It's very much more for the masses and not the core gamers, and there are better Game Awards out there, but it is definitely the most popular Game Awards show out there with the big news and reveals, and that's why we're discussing that tonight. So, what do you guys think of the Game Awards?
It was a good show. I mean, I enjoyed it as a presentation. I think that as far as the Game Awards go, it was my favorite presentation. Maybe not the announcements, maybe not the content that was within it, but as a show itself, as an award show, I thought it was my favorite show. Louis, what did you think?
First of all, hello, Charlotte. Anyway,
Charmander.
Charmander. Yeah, we don't get sidetracked. I thought I missed the beginning part of it because now we're doing cat stuff. All right, okay, mine. Pokemon battle. Anyway, I missed the first part of it. I want to say like maybe the first half almost. I got in there pretty late, but I made a comment at one point that this was more exciting than the last E3 for me.
Oh yeah.
E3 was good, but it was kind of like, oh, by the way, games still exist. Like, okay, this one was more like, look at all the new shit that we got coming out. Are you excited yet? I'm like, yes, thank you. And I think that if I want to get into it very quickly, my highlight as far as like things I was looking forward to was Alan Wake 2. Just seeing Jake Gyllenhaal and made me freak out because he's handsome. I don't care what Taylor Swift did to him. It's awesome. So I was very much looking forward to that part.
So were you expecting the announcement of Alan Wake 2?
No.
Okay.
No, I stay away from everything that I can about any kind of unless it's like a teaser. Then
see, now I had no idea they were announcing Alan Wake at all. So that definitely was a big like holy shit moment for me.
But you caught it was Alan Wake before me. Like you saw it immediately.
Oh yeah,
that's Alan Wake, and I was like, the what?
So, I recognized his voice a few minutes or a few seconds into the trailer, and I was like, "This is Alan Wake." Ow!
I just recognized that beautiful mug.
Is it really Jake Gyllenhaal? Because I thought they had a different actor that played Alan Wake.
Yes, well, come up, whatever. Sure, why not?
Yeah,
I think that example. Just it's a micro example of how I felt about this whole show, where it was full of things that I know that there are people that will be excited to hear about, but didn't quite do anything for me. Like in general, I have a couple trailers I wrote down that I am excited for.
Oh,
but
yeah.
as a show that went on for what was it, like 2.5, 3 hours?
3.5 hours.
3.5 hours.
Not including the pre-show. So it's almost 4 hours if you include the pre-show.
Yeah,
It's a bit long.
To have 4 games on my notes here to be like, yeah, I was excited to see that in 3.5 hours. I'm excited for the people that are excited for these games. I know that
Yeah.
that game holds a very special place in a lot of people's hearts.
Yeah,
I didn't
and
even finish the first one, and I still like. Oh my god! So yeah.
I definitely feel like this. I think the last Game Awards that I watched that had the most impact on me was probably the 2019 Game Awards, and then before that, maybe the 2018 one was pretty good. But the 2019 one, when they first revealed the Xbox Series X as well as the first trailer for Hellblade 2, like that was a big deal for me. But the rest of the show is like, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. Okay, this is cool. I don't care, I don't care. Like, so
Who cares about the awards part of the award show? I want to see all the previews and shit.
it depends. I mean, there's a, like I said in the beginning of the show, where the Game Awards feels it's more for the masses, and I feel like the winners of the awards, they're definitely not the users that actually vote. Like they're not who determines these winners. So it's hard to take it all with a lot of grain of, well, just at face value.
Take it
sometimes.
with grains of salt. Yeah.
Take it with grains of salt. Yeah. So, but still, it's fun to do. It's fun to, think about like what games that we love are getting awards for what they're doing. And
yeah, we know the Corey
Barlog,
Barlog,
not the Balrog.
Say Balrog. I always get that mixed up.
Not the Balrog.
We know, heads of studios, but I think this is a great opportunity for people that are program directors and all the other job titles that go into making a game to get recognized for their work, and maybe not by name, but at least this is a chance to put a little spotlight on that team. So happy for them too.
Oh, for sure. I want to say too, before I get into our topic points tonight, that when I was voting for these choices of this year's Game Awards, I found it very difficult to choose in a lot of categories because there are so many great games that came out this year. And I don't know if there's other people out there who think this is a bad year for gaming, but I personally think it's a great year for gaming. And sure, we might not have gotten a God of War 2018 release this year, but we still got a lot of really great games. And I personally, I'm happy that it was a hard choice to vote for any one game over the other. I'm a little sad Psychonauts didn't win anything because I personally really enjoyed that game. And I'm a little sad they didn't win anything.
Yeah, same here. But like for me, it was hard to make any kind of choices or informed choices because I hadn't played most of the games. Whether because it was a rough year on basically everybody. Didn't have time, didn't have money, didn't have this, didn't have that, whatever the hell it was, all the excuses all put together. I barely started Resident Evil 8. I only started Psychonauts 2 because it came out on the Game Pass.
Yeah.
I don't have a PS5, so I wasn't able to try out Kenda. There's so many factors of why it was so hard or difficult to come up with any kind of predictions. Like you asked me personally, what you thought I was, what I thought was going to win. I had no clue. I hadn't tried Deathloop. I hadn't tried and like just all the old games. I'm like, screw it. I'm gonna go back and play the original Final Fantasy VII. And that's kind of what I've been doing because I just stopped. I'm not gonna get a PS5. I don't want to play, Return or anything like that. Stuff sucks. You guys are dumb. So it was kind of, I guess it was lost on me as an audience member, as a guy that did not have context to the games that won, to the games that were nominated. Like it just, that's my opinion on it. Like it was great. I had a good time. I enjoyed watching it, but it was like watching previews all over again. Like I don't know what that means.
They're definitely a fun event, though. I think it's something that I've been doing for a long time now, where I watch the Game Awards amongst other, gaming media and outlets. And I think it was Brandy. We were talking last night about it, and she said it was just the first time she's really done that. Well, she did it last year with me, but now she's at that point where she's enjoying watching the awards and the excitement when they do the world premiere trailers and such, and it's a fun thing to enjoy.
It is, yeah.
All right, I can move us on to the first main thing I wanted to hit on tonight was the big thing for me, at least, and one of the things I had actually hoped for when we did our hopes in the last episode of the podcast was Hellblade 2. Senua's Saga made a massive showing at this year's Game Awards, and it was early. It was, fairly early in the show, to the point where I was actually, honestly, I didn't expect it. I am trying to navigate some stuff. I'm trying to play some things on the screen for audiences to watch while we discuss it. But Hellblade 2 was something I was really looking forward to. I was really hopeful that we'd see something new from Ninja Theory, especially updates on Hellblade. And holy hell, that trailer was breathtaking. It showed gameplay. It showed intensely realistic and cinematic environments and worlds that, like, it's been what I've been hoping for with Hellblade, because I love the first game. And I was like in tears watching that trailer. What did you guys think?
I only played partway through the first one, and I think I was just not in a great headspace, and that game has some pretty heavy themes.
It's very heavy.
Of it's just not a happy place kind of game. And so I'm sure I could go back to it right now and see through it. But it looks creepy. It looks cool. I'm sure it'll be a great time.
Yeah, Hellblade is definitely a heavy game. Like, there's no denying that.
Yeah. I was going to say basically the same thing. I got through the beginning and I was like, oh, I know what this is. Okay, never mind. And I bailed kind of early because I just finished, I think it was Last of Us 2. And I was like, I can't do another one. I just want happy. Somebody give me Yoshi. Somebody give me anything. I just want happiness. I want the world to remember.
Yeah, you need a palate cleanser.
Yeah. And I haven't gotten back to it. I downloaded it a few times since, but like I said, like you miss 1 month of gaming and you're behind everything. And so
certainly.
And this year was brutal for me, like personally, professionally speaking. I did not have time to do anything. Everybody was always constantly like, "Hey, let's get on it. Let's play some good." I'm like, "No, I gotta work." So it just kept backing up, and so it's on my queue, but it's still way the hell back here, even though I'm already over here. So I'm eventually gonna get to it. That's what I'm saying.
Well, for anyone who's
giving me money so I can play these games.
If the Hellblade 2 trailer got you excited and you haven't played the first game, I have to say that Hellblade 1 is fairly short. You can probably, I'd say a first time run, you can probably do it in 10 hours or less. You can even, I would say the average playthrough is maybe closer to 8 hours, depending on how quickly you figure out the puzzles, because the first Hellblade game is very puzzle centric. There's some really good combat, but if you put it on easy, you can kind of blast right through it. But yeah, it's a super heavy game. It deals very strongly with mental health and what it means to treat people with mental disabilities differently from regular people, and how that affects them and makes them even worse. So it's a hard game to swallow if a lot of that stuff can hit home to you. And it's just so beautiful and it's so well done. The acting by the talented, not even actress who they ended up having do this. She was like a social media manager at Ninja Theory, I think, ended up playing the role.
That's right. She worked for the team.
Yeah, she was a team member. Role. Yeah, and they had her stand in to do modeling until they got an actress, and they liked her performance so much they ended up just giving it to her. And she's brilliant. Every time I hear her scream, I get goosebumps.
Don't they make a big effort to try to get you to wear your headphones when you play that game too? Isn't spatial audio is a
huge deal in that game.
A real effort.
Yeah, if you watch the trailer for Hellblade 2, you hear the voices in her head. Go ahead, Louis.
That's right, and they were coming through. You could hear them. Oh, actually, that one's coming from my back right.
And that, like for me, that does hit kind of close to home, considering that I work with a lot of people with a lot of problems, and that was another reason that I was kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna dip for, I don't know, about 4 years. We'll see what happens later.
For 4 years.
Time that I got to play with it, and I mean small, I probably got a half hour in, was astounding. I was
Yeah.
completely blown away by the graphics, the acting, the voiceover work, the sound. The sound was otherworldly, literally. I mean, it really, and I wanted to give it the attention that it deserved. And I probably personally still am not there just yet, but I'm definitely I know how important that kind of a game is, and so I can see and
Yeah.
understand why everybody is so excited to see that there's already another installment coming out. It's just like, wow. Sometimes you have to wait 12 years, 14 years, and then, oh, by the way, we were working on this for a while now.
Well,
Genius.
the original Hellblade was it was independently developed and produced by Ninja Theory. They built it themselves. They funded it themselves. They had no publisher. They had no one backing them. They just said, we want to make a game that we want to make. And they did it themselves. And they made this brilliant and beautiful game that came out they published it themselves. They sold it. It was one of the first games that was like completely digitally distributed in the earliest, like 2017. That was a AAA experience. And they only charged $30 for it. I actually pre-ordered it when it first came to PlayStation because it was exclusive to PlayStation in the beginning. Twist, now it's an Xbox exclusive because Microsoft said, those guys are killing it. We want them. So they acquired Ninja Theory, and now they're funding the next Ninja Theory's future projects, including Hellblade 2 and other things they're working on. I feel like the new one isn't going to deal so heavily on the mental health aspects. They're going to try to gamify it a little bit more to make it more mass appeal, which is good. I'm happy to have a more fleshed out game because the first game was very simple. It didn't have a lot of elements outside of the core gameplay. So I'm really, really excited. I get goosebumps every time I watch that trailer. The next topic, of course, you already hit on this, Louis. It was Alan Wake. To me, was a massive, huge surprise. And I'm excited because it's an official survival horror game, not just the kind of like psychological thriller that the first game was. So I'm all, yay.
That one really surprised me. I'm barely playing the first one. I hadn't really had a whole lot of access to it. And I have a friend who's always going on about it. And so when I saw it in the Steam library, I was just like, all right, let's give it a shot. And, oh, okay. Yeah, this is definitely my kind of game. Right up my alley. I love everything about it so far. And so when I saw that there was a second one coming out, I immediately showed, or I texted my friend who I knew wasn't watching the whole thing. And he was the one who kept on telling me, you got to play it. And he just started screaming. Like, I could see it through the text. I heard him on the other side of town. And he told me, he's like, dude, I'm ugly crying right now. I'm like, I know. Welcome to what happened when I saw the first preview for Final Fantasy VII Remake, because I was not expecting it. I saw that come up, and I literally ran an inch away from the TV and just like screaming and crying all at the same time. So yeah, no, I get that. I totally get it.
How are you on Alan
I'm
Wake, Pat?
Such a sucker for anything that's like a Pacific Northwest. It's set in the Pacific Northwest.
So you're like, I'm there.
Yeah, and survival horror, I'm all about that. Third person survival horror is my jam. I will definitely keep my eye on that one. Did not play the first one. American Psycho was the extra DLC too, I think.
American Dream, I think.
No. Anyways, did not play that one either. I mean, I've been aware of that game and that series.
American Nightmare. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. And so yeah, we'll be ready. I'm ready to see more about it. I don't remember if we got a release date for that game or not, or if that's just. I mean, that's our first look at it. So, and what's probably 2023.
I feel like they said 2023 in there somewhere. That's what they're shooting for.
I was too busy trying to figure out if it was Jake Gyllenhaal or not. I don't know.
I called him young Bradley Cooper.
Yes, you did. Like immediately, I was like,
Yeah.
"Did you know, young Bradley Cooper?" No, all right. Still looks like Jake to me.
Oh man, yeah, that one took me by surprise, and I'm a massive Alan Wake fan. I bought the first one when it first came out. Super excited for the new one. Super happy they're going to go full survival horror with it. I think Remedy is one of the greater developers out there who they rarely miss. They have such a great lineup of games, and they're also working on the single player mode for the new Crossfire X game that's coming to Xbox next February or March, I think. Which it was funny. Like people were like, "Is this Crisis?" Like, no, it's Crossfire X, but it looks dope.
Yeah, that was me. I was like, "Oh, Crisis, another one, cool." You're like, Crossfire.
Was there anything that you guys specifically wanted to hit on before we move on? Like other games that you were like, "Oh man, I was super pumped by this."
Yeah, I got a few.
Okay.
If you don't mind me taking the
Go
lead
for
here.
it. Go for it.
The last time that I saw this game, I've been excited for it, but it didn't do anything for me until this new trailer that we got in Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh,
I thought
let me
that
see if I
what
can
was
pull that up.
featured. Sure, yeah.
Go ahead.
I'll ramble for a bit about it because I just think that the diversity in the gameplay that this trailer featured really stood out to me. You have at one point like a glider of some sort, like I called it a hang glider, but just like there's going to be some more kind of aerial traversal, and then she's
There's the
also
Alan Wake
seen.
trailer.
Wake up. There's swimming sections in the trailer. I think that the diversity in the robots that are featured, which only I assume are on top of what were featured in the first game too. I think that's going to create a really unique cast of monsters to try to take down. And the trailer ended with just a flash of this giant robot snake cobra coiled up on this rock, and that really stood out to me. I just think I see it popped up now. I think it looks beautiful. And I was a little like, I bought that game when it first came out, kind of slept on it a little bit, and then only within maybe the last year or two went back to it and finished it, and the Frozen Wilds DLC. Just loved it all. So that's one for sure. That's top of my list.
Nice.
It reignited my excitement for that game.
Sweet. I'm actually pretty
Not played it
interested in
yet.
this. Haven't played it yet, Louis? I
Nope,
picked up
one of them.
I picked up the Horizon Complete Edition, I think 2 years ago, and it was early in the pandemic when that first hit that I started actually playing it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start playing Horizon finally. My video player is driving me nuts because it's not playing what I want it to. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about what you're seeing on screen.
Oh, it's Jeff's pot friend.
Oh yeah, the pot friend.
The pothead friend.
But
Whatever.
I started playing Horizon last year when we got hit with the pandemic and I didn't really have much else to do. And it was the first time I really kind of like dove into that game. And I was like, okay, I can see what's great about this game. I think I tried it when it first came out, and the first few hours were kind of like, meh.
Yeah, I agree.
Kind of went through that same process. It's definitely one of those games that I've been wishing I could go back to and actually play through it, but I always have the same problem with any big open world game. It's really hard for me to finish the big open world games because it takes so long unless I try to just like beeline through, but it's impossible to do because I want to collect everything. I want everything.
Right. I think we were talking about it previously too, that off camera, that it's just kind of a quintessential Sony game these days, where it's it's like a third person. It's a almost Ubisoft like, where it's just like a here's a big map, here's all these boxes to check off, go out there, have fun. It looks beautiful. I don't expect it to necessarily like blow me away, but I'm kind of ready for a game that's like that, where I can just get lost into. Halo Infinite's open world right now in campaign mode is kind of checking that box for me too, but that's different. So I don't know, just give me more robot dinosaurs, I'll be happy.
Yeah, that's something that they definitely pulled off really well with the game, especially over like what was Guerrilla's previous Killzone. Like Killzone was really hot for a while, and then it kind of like drifted off, and then they nailed it with Horizon.
Yeah, it still blows me away that studio made Horizon when all their previous games were shooters, or in more recent
Yeah.
memory.
More
They were
typical
all
like
shooters.
FPS games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what they've learned from this process of making Horizon. To it could be great. It could be great. I just very optimistic for this one.
Nice. I'm hoping that the game doesn't take too much of a hit because they decided that it was going to be a PS5 game, and then they're like, well, no, we got to make it PS4 as well. So hopefully that's not going to like dial things back too much in the performance. I mean, it still looks fantastic though.
Yeah, you couldn't have. I wouldn't have believed you if you. I don't know. It still looks great. It looks great to
Right.
me. Yeah.
If we haven't been burned before,
Yeah.
basically. But I mean, yeah, like I call myself a gamer. It's one of the ones that I haven't been playing yet. And if I'm honest, because of the time when it came out at, I think a big part of it, like you were talking about earlier, Dan, is that it's so overwhelmingly huge.
Yeah.
That I got a little scared, and I'm like, well, I'm playing Red Dead 2. It's either or.
I was playing Breath of the Wild at the time, so Breath of the Wild took all of my time.
It came out on the same day, so that did not help it. And I'm pretty darn sure that I picked up both and then got consumed by Breath of the Wild, and then didn't have the open world stamina at that time to jump back into something like that.
That's a perfect way to put it right there.
Like, I'm just looking at this gameplay over and over again, and every time I find a little something else in it, then I'm like, God damn, it looks impressive. Yeah. But it's also overwhelming, and I am kind of going like, when I get that, I'm not going to go to work. I'm not going to do anything else.
For sure.
I don't even want to watch movies when a game is so damn good. I can't go back to it. Like, it's kind of, that's kind of the point. Like, I love getting into these worlds. I love getting into the game. I love getting into all of that. But it is so overwhelming at a certain point that it's easily enough to scare you away. Like, I remember being a kid always wanting every game I got to be 50 hours. And now every fucking game is 50 hours. And I'm like, oh, this is why we don't make wishes when we're children, because we don't understand. So, yeah, that kind of a thing. But anyway.
Was there anything that really excited you, Louis, that you're looking forward to?
For me, it was Alan Wake. And
Alan
again,
Wake is still the big
mostly
one.
because of context. It's the only game out of all the ones that they showed. Well, okay, that's not true. The Matrix thing, whatever it's called. The Engine 5.
The Unreal demo?
Yeah. Like, okay, basically, Keanu is king. So now I get to, like, play as him? Is it a game, or is it like...
So I actually checked out the Matrix Unreal Engine 5 demo this morning. It's very much a tech demo. A tech demo that they distributed for everyone to get their hands on. It's the first time I've ever seen something like that. They were like, this is what Unreal Engine 5 will look like when we make games using this engine. It's very controlled. It's very much not a game. It's more of an interactive experience. It's a heavy cinematic that right up until a certain point, it's like, oh, okay, now I can kind of do stuff. But you don't really do anything. You're more just kind of interact with what's happening. And then it will, it highlights what the engine does, and then it lets you play with it. So it goes from, here's a very structured experience within the Matrix universe, and it's brilliant. I highly recommend you check it out. If you can't download it and play it, watch someone's video on YouTube. Somebody might be providing that somewhere. Definitely check out that footage. And you can, after the initial like Matrix part of it, it just dumps you into the cityscape and lets you experience it and lets you go around and like, holy crap, the physics are incredible. Like, I got into a car and started driving around, and very much my like Grand Theft Auto brain, I'm just like, wee, and I smashed into the back of a car, and then was confused when I couldn't keep driving. And I'm like, what happened? I got out of the car, and the whole front end of my car was buried into the back end of the car that I hit. And I went, oh, this is realistic.
Yeah, watching somebody play that today, they were really focusing on, and I guess the devs did in some kind of notes about it, where the impact that your car makes on another car is not gonna, sometimes you'll play these games where because it sense that you hit something in a certain way, it's gonna be that same kind of animation that shows a dent in that car. But depending on specifically like where you end up making contact with the other vehicle is gonna affect how big or small that impact is on the car. The future of this tech is so cool to me.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty incredible.
I was just say a small little thing that's kind of interesting about that is I remember the first game that really did a lot of justice to the damage being shown, and that was Batman, the
Mm.
Arkham Asylum, for me, because like that's how you knew the level of progression and where you were in the
I feel
game. That's
like
how my friends and I used to talk to each other. Like we would tell one another like, okay, where are you in the game? It's like, well, now his bats now the cape is all torn. It's like, oh, so you're just after. Okay, that's cool. And it was a good measurement for that, and also showed how battle worn he was as the night progresses. And then like now games just do that. That's just a feature. And I'm like, I can't be excited anymore. But I love that.
yeah, I was reading earlier today about the Coalition had a hand in helping them fine tune that Matrix experience because the Coalition predominantly develops games in Unreal Engine, and the article said that they've been working in Unreal Engine 5 for the past year. And if you don't know, the Coalition is the studio that now works on Gears.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
they're the internal Microsoft studio that took over Gears when I'm blanking. What's his name left? The head of Epic at the time. Anyways, they helped.
B. Cliff Blazinski.
That's it.
Cliffy
Cliffy B. They took over, or they helped Epic fine tune that experience to get the best performance out of it, and that immediately made me think, oh my god, what is the Coalition working on in this freaking Unreal Engine 5 now? It's got to be the next Gears game, I imagine. And if it's going to look at that level, and this is just a demo that I assume they threw together in a couple of months, give or take.
Yeah.
They had to have, it was probably a pretty quick thing because the demo itself is very short, and then it just kind of throws you into this big open world that lets you just kind of play with things. But there isn't a lot to do, honestly. So, I'm getting excited now thinking about the future and what that experience allows for us to do.
I didn't really think about it in that context, and I was like, I mean, if they're there, might as well, for Christ's sake. I'm just looking at Brandy saying that the steampunky game looked interesting too. Which steampunky game are we talking about?
I believe she might be talking about that new, like, is it the survival one that's I have it queued up here. I can actually get the video for us to take a look at. I just got to find it in my video player. Nightingale. So it's actually the next one after Horizon. Of course, my video player plays the first video first, and then it goes to the next one. So I believe this is the Nightingale footage here. Nope, that's the Horizon still. There we go. So Nightingale is from a ex-BioWare devs, and they're making like an open world survival game, kind of similar to like Minecraft or The Forest.
I didn't like this guy.
These creatures. Oh, these creatures.
It's like, it reminds me of the Mimic. From,
the fake head that turns up.
Yeah, they would do that thing, and it was like a human face, and it looked like they were a person wearing a trench coat. That movie, when I was a kid, messed me up, and then I saw it as an adult. I'm like, this is brilliant.
So I forgot.
It was the first time I ever saw a kid die in a horror movie. That totally screwed with me.
So the gameplay looks like it happens from a first-person perspective, and then it's like the survival aspect of it, where you got to collect resources, you build bases, and then there's all these crazy creatures and monsters that you have to like fight off and defend. So it's definitely a different take from like ex-BioWare developers. I assume this is the one Bernie was looking for. Sorry, Pat.
That makes me think of like Hunt, but like in the first person monster hunting, kind of set in kind of a similar vibe, but then this game completely does a million things more, judging by the trailer, the base building, the survival aspects. But when that trailer first started, that's what I was thinking at first.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of Conan a little bit when you see like the giant like stomping
Yeah,
down on the base.
can
Like
see that.
it's like the Conan survival game.
Was this the
Yeah.
one that at the very end they said, "I want to be the gentleman"? The one with the Mobius
I
mustache.
think so. I think that was it.
Yeah, I think this is the part. Yeah, it is. Yeah,
The
yeah,
gentleman.
this is the one. I want to be a gentleman, please.
Oh, here's one that I definitely want to touch on. I have the footage here for the game being developed by the director of Silent Hill.
Yes, Splitter
It's Slitterhead.
Slitterhead. Damn it! Saw it
Slitterhead.
once. Saw it once. I almost remembered.
It's a weird name,
I'm old. Leave me alone.
but this looks like Japanese horror, like at its prime. What did you think of this trailer, Pat?
Slitterhead. Slitterhammer.
Yeah, it's creepy. I didn't play Silent Hill, so like seeing that doesn't hit me the same.
Mm.
But I know that it's regarded really well. So I'm curious to see what more we see of this one.
Terrifying monsters ripping people into pieces.
Yeah.
Yep.
This one looks a little more action oriented than Silent Hill,
Yeah.
but I'm still all for it, man. Dude. It kind of reminds me of Evil Dead. Evil Within.
Yeah. That was kind of the same vibe I got too, as Evil Within.
Only a little more brutal.
Mm.
But if I remember correctly, I want to say that this was mentioned about maybe a year to 2 years ago.
Oh, really?
That they described it. It looks kind of like it in the preview. They described it as, I don't want to mention it incorrectly. I think it was something along the lines of like Harry Potter, but in a horror movie. Where think of it in the same sense of like BioShock, where you're using special powers with one hand and then a weapon with the other. But instead of just using them like that, you're interchanging everything. So you can basically use the weapons with the magic at the same time.
I feel like
or
that was
just with magic,
Ghostwire
or
kind of
just-
hits that same vibe, isn't it? Because Ghostwire, you can
It
use kind of
might
like
be
magic
that.
abilities and stuff.
Ghostwire.
No. They said martial arts with magic.
Okay.
Oh.
That was the way that one of the developers described it. It might be the one that you're talking about. It might be that one. I'm not sure. I got that vibe from it because it shows them like pulling out the blood and making a spear out of it and stuff like that. I'm like, oh,
Get this trailer up here. I can't see this again.
Oh no, no more trailer. Brandy's
The
like
limb-
Star Wars.
The limbs
limb
make me
thing?
think it's Dead Space. They seem very much like you're supposed to use your little cutter blade to
Like the
decide which-
necromorphs chopping off the
Yeah.
limbs. Cut off the
Yeah.
limbs. Cut off the limbs.
I love that. Although I will admit that in Dead Space, where it did get kind of ugly for me, was there was a point where I was so worried that those things would come out. And what I noticed is that if they only have 2 limbs on their body, they will not reanimate. So I would just go around killing, like just dismembering all these dead bodies. And there was a point where I was doing it for like an hour straight, and I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I remember
playing no
that.
games. Playing no games.
Yeah,
while playing this
no.
game.
That's where I was usually just like running around like curb stomping everything. Like, you better be dead.
Yeah,
The
and
curb
then
stomp.
like it's because he does that thing where he's
Ah,
he just gets more and more into it. And I remember that, and I remember just going like, "What the fuck am I playing, dude?" Like,
So before we move on to like actual awards for the night, the last thing I want to touch on was the Sonicness of Sonic that was appearing during the Game Awards, because we got the new trailer for the Sonic movie, the sequel to the Sonic movie, as well as a new Sonic game that I was really happy about the movie trailer because I really liked the movie. That movie was way better than it deserved to be. I'm really happy that it was good. I'm really excited for the new one. The game still looks like a bad Sonic game, and I want it to be good, but
I love Ben Schwartz, and so he comes out there and he makes that joke about this being the trailer
The
right here. And he's like,
DVD.
"No, it's just a blank DVD." It got me good.
That was just for dramatic effect.
And
Yeah.
the fact that he does it again, like immediately after the callback.
It's a callback.
Yeah.
yeah,
That was great.
I'm a
Schwartz
simple man.
is just this incredible gem. I can't wait to see what he does. If you haven't seen his morning show, comedy routine, it's
Lauren
a short
Lapkus?
series. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude! But then he has that part where it's really sad in the end of the first episode and the end of the last episode. And it's like this guy can act, dude. He
Yeah.
is a legitimately talented individual, and I can't wait to see what he does. But anyway, sorry.
Yeah, that trailer looked phenomenal, though. I liked the Sonic movie more than I thought I would, and I think that this one dives way more into the games in a way, or like it looks more like a Sonic game, which is appealing to me, and it looks just slapstick. It looks silly, I'm ready for it.
The more fun they have with it, I think the better, and that's what I think ultimately worked for me seeing the Sonic movie, because originally I was like, oh, it's going to be bad, let's go see how terrible this is going to be. And then by the time we walked out of the theater, I was like, that was incredible. Like, I really enjoyed that. That was a great, fun movie. And like it didn't take itself too seriously. Jim Carrey fucking crushed it.
Yeah.
And
I could care less about the game, though. Like, yeah, okay, I hope somebody likes that new game.
Yeah.
But
like
give me more movie.
Yeah, when I saw the movie, I remember when I saw the first preview, I was like, I don't care how this movie is going to turn out. Jim Carrey is going to be amazing. Like, you could just see it in the preview. I was like, whatever happens, I don't care if he's not the Robotnik that we know, the Eggman, because he's too skinny. He still looks like he's Jim Carrey at his Jim Carreyest since Dumb and Dumber, the original. So I knew that was going to be incredible. And then saw the movie, had no right being that goddamn good. I'm glad that Ben pulled out the award where he's talking about, like, you guys called us out, man. Yeah, the whole teeth thing and the face, and you were right. And I mean, yeah, it was horrible, but they actually listened to the fans. They actually did that, and that's part of the reason why I had to go watch it, is just to support the really the first time that a multi-million-dollar movie was going to be spending more millions to correct a mistake, because the fans said that there was a mistake. And so the movie did everything right. It added a story to a game that didn't. I mean, it has a story. There's a lot of lore, but it added its own elements to it, and it just made more sense. And it was just a perfect amalgamation of everything that needed to happen for a good video game movie. That being said, the game looks weird.
Yeah, I like
don't know how else to put it.
I like the idea of an open world Sonic. I feel like that could work well for Sonic, because then he's got lots of room to run.
Literally.
But nothing in that trailer gave us any context to it making any sense. So I don't know. The last dozen Sonic games have just been weird and not fun and not very enjoyable to play, if you don't include like Sonic Mania, which is the rare exception, which wasn't made by Team Sonic and Sega. So yeah,
I mean, I can see it working. It looks kind of
yes, Brandy,
like...
I know Star Wars.
Yes, you keep saying so. It looks kind of like a weird interpretation of Shadow of the Colossus, but with Sonic mixed in with, probably, I'm assuming that like the gameplay and stuff like that is going to be kind of in between Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, maybe even what we were talking about earlier with the Horizon.
Yeah.
Like that weird kind of a thing, and that could work absolutely. But I just think that having cartoon Sonic in
realistic,
it just it worked for Mario, because the whole point is that
it worked
Mario
in Sonic Adventure. I think weirdly, like Sonic Adventure had like realistic locations in it and realistic people. I don't know. Sonic Adventure was the last Sonic Adventure game I actually enjoyed. Sonic Adventure and Sonic Adventure 2. But
same.
Yeah. Do you guys want to talk about Star Wars Eclipse for Brandy's sake, since she's so excited about it?
Not really.
No.
Anyway,
Okay.
I don't have no. I'm not the Star Wars guy. I don't have much to say about that one, and it's it's a CGI trailer. We get a set of the tone in the world, or a sense of the tone in the world. I'm excited to see more, but I don't know what to say about what we've seen so far.
The main thing I have to say as a Star Wars fan is I thought that trailer was breathtaking and super intriguing. And I was like, oh my God, this looks fantastic. Might it be Jedi Fallen Order 2? And then it was like, oh, okay, no, this is something else. But it looks great. And then I was sad when the end card showed Quantic Dream. And I went, oh, I'm sure it's going to be good, but I don't like Quantic Dream's games. So it's not going to be for me, is all I'm saying.
What else do they make? Who are they? I don't know.
Heavy Rain.
I'm pressing the doubt button in my mind of my option buttons right now. I'm responding to you.
Doubt. They made Heavy Rain, Detroit Become Human, Beyond Two Souls, all those very narrative structured adventure games where it's all about like the choices you make and stuff. And those are good games, but I don't know. They just don't. They're not fun to me to play. And like Heavy Rain was the last one that I like tore through. And by the time I finished, I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to play that game again.
I think I got burnt out from the Telltale style of games.
Yeah,
which is very similar. I played so many of those, and I just have to be in such a very specific mood to want to play a game like that. For me, it was campy teen horror game on PlayStation. Until Dawn.
Daylight.
Until Dawn.
Yeah. That game, same
Until
thing.
Dawn.
It didn't work for me for the same reason.
That was the last one I loved,
Yeah.
and totally got into. And I've started to dabble with the Dark Pictures anthology, Man of Medan.
I've heard those are good.
It's good, but maybe by the time that comes out, I'll be ready for another game of that style again.
Yeah. I'm happy for you people that do enjoy those games because I know they're great, and I'm happy for you guys to get that experience. But for me, they generally don't click for me. But yeah.
But in a world full of such lore, and in a game that focuses so much on the story, or like the type of game that would, it might be a great. I see potential there.
Yeah, for sure.
Personally speaking, I like the control of games.
Yeah.
I love being able to go in there and make huge decisions and do backflips that I can't do in real life. Gameplay.
Game mechanics and gameplay.
Now that being said, I am a massive Kingdom Hearts and Metal Gear Solid kind of a fan of that. I don't mind a 20-minute cutscene. I'm all for it. I'm good just sitting there watching it happen and going like, oh my God, this graphics is so good. I'm good with all of that. But I do want gameplay. I want to be able to be a badass for about an hour and then okay, your turn.
An analogy that I really like with those kind of games is that it's like a coloring book, or it's like a page out of a coloring book where we all kind of have our own colors that we pick in, but ultimately we finish with the same thing. And I'd be curious to see if that game is able to potentially break that mold. It always feels like, you give that sense of like, oh, actually I went left when it gave me the option to go right, but ultimately you come back around to the same point, or it's like a DNA strand, a million analogies at you there. But and so I want a game, and it's so hard to make a game because you don't know the way that players are going to decide, but I just want a game that feels like I get a dramatically different ending than whoever I talk to, that played it their style.
You know what game that I've been playing recently that does that well, perfectly, and has won an award or two last night? Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh,
it hits those narrative beats fantastically, and it has those choices that changes these events and how things play out, and it'll do like Rocket will remember that, or Rocket's pissed at you for doing that kind of thing. Yeah. But it does it with really fun gameplay. That's the difference. The gameplay in Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy is super fun with those choices, with those moments of differences that you can change how characters perceive you and the way they interact with you. And I've been playing it with Brandy separately, and we'll get to a certain point and be like, which option did you choose here? Did you do this or did you do that? And then I will purposely choose the other option just to see the other outcome.
What happened? Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I like those. Okay. They're good. Guardians did it well, and that's why they won Best Narrative. Last thing I want to hit on real quick, I don't know if it's going to be quick. It might be the rest of the show, but before we go into any of the awards, the appearance of Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro. Was that just one giant troll?
Guillermo.
Guillermo. I'm sorry. I
Guillermo.
very
Excuse
much
me.
whited that. I'm sorry.
you
Guillermo.
just
Tortilla.
Genshin.
Genshin.
Genshin. There you go.
That's me too. Yeah.
Genshin.
I'm sorry, Dan. Go ahead.
That's fine. Again, my question was that a giant troll or not? Like, I felt like that was just kind of like...
I think so. Why else would they do that? Do you think they really would, like, after the turmoil we've been through with that development cycle? I mean, like, is it going to come out tomorrow? No. But, like, I don't know. Like, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, we still don't know what's going on with what is that? Blue Box Studio?
Oh,
That
I
whole
don't think that
conspiracy?
has... I don't think that's...
No, I don't think
Shut up. Shut up. Give me hope. Give me
No.
hope.
Yeah.
No.
Shut your mouth.
No.
I'm still holding out. I'm still holding out. They just appeared, all right? And he even said,
I haven't
another
been
Silent
beaten
Hill
down
be
enough
great.
to be so just like cynical. Like I still have a bit of hope that like
Thank you.
something will come from that group.
The Blue Box? Well, I'm sure they're developing a
No,
game.
No, sorry. I mean,
You're talking about
Guillermo
Hideo and Guillermo.
Hideo, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. I'm saying Blue Box
He
is
thinks
Hideo.
Blue Box is a code name or a secret project of Hideo Kojima's.
Yes, I really do. It's not that I think that, it's that I hope it.
For
I'm with
context,
you there.
we
I
talked
hope
about
so.
this on the podcast a while ago, but
Yeah.
I know, and I saw the episode, and I both agree and disagree with everything you said. So
Yeah.
happy medium. But either way, I just like the fact that Guillermo so blatantly just goes, wouldn't it be great to have another Silent Hill?
he's like,
And
those
it goes
were cool
right
games.
on. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, you're such a dick, and it felt so good. It's like hearing a roaster roast the guy that everybody hates, and everyone just goes, yes, thank you. Like, God, it felt good. It felt real good.
There has been a lot of rumors lately too that a new Silent Hill game might be in development. And I wonder if Guillermo is still like attached to that. So maybe that's his like ha ha ha, like Easter egg kind of thing. Who knows?
He says he quit video games after Silent Hills was pulled, and I mean he did kind of go with it when he like he didn't do anything in Death Stranding except for Bieni.
Yeah.
So I mean he did kind of hold to his guns about that, but at the same time I'm like, you're a creator.
I feel like I think we're getting really close to finding out what Hideo Kojima's working on next, though, because it's been 4 years since Death Stranding came out. Not 4 years, 3 years, right? Like it came out in late 2018, I think.
Yeah. He's been working on something. He has something.
He's
done.
got something working, and it was, I think, what was it, last year, 6 months ago, in that time frame, he was in talks with Xbox about working on a project, but there was never any like yay or nay on whether that actually came to any fruition. So we don't know if he is or not. God, there's so many things I would love to see that man do, especially like older series. I'd love to see like a modern revival. But anyways, let's move on to the few things that like I predicted that we were going to see a Forza, or not Forza, Horizon. I was going to say Forza Horizon, but I mean Horizon Forbidden West trailer, which we did. I also thought we might get some God of War, but we didn't see anything. I also thought we were going to get some Zelda. Nintendo basically was a no-show at this Game Awards outside of a few advertisements. So
we got some Zelda. They talked about Zelda 2, Breath of the Wild 2.
Not really. They didn't.
They mentioned that it was a thing. They just never.
They showed it in commercials for Switch, essentially.
Yeah,
is what they did, and that was an ad, more or less. There was a bunch of ads in this. That's why it was 3.5 hours long. But the big ones that we touched on, we were talking about best performance, best action adventure game, and game of the year, of course. So one of the things we talked about was the best performance award, and we all kind of unanimously were saying we'd love to see Maggie Robertson win for her Lady D in Resident Evil, and she fucking won. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
I was so happy. Yeah. Like, oh my God.
And the chat went wild with mommies. It was a little unnerving.
with mommies.
And that was a subscriber only chat too. I was watching
Yeah.
on the Game Awards one where you have to be a sub only to even chat there. People
Oh,
paid money to say mommy.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was trying to troll a lot of people, but I couldn't because I didn't subscribe. Whatever. But it was yeah, there was a lot of mommy.
Yeah, people are weird.
And,
But
yeah.
her performance was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
You know, well deserved.
Of that list, like I know we talked about this briefly on the last episode. I felt like it was almost a little unfair that there was 2 Deathloop characters on there. Like, is Juliana really that big of a part of the whole experience that both characters made it on that list?
Story wise, you know, she's constantly in your ear, and the game is about dying and retrying, and she'll taunt you for it. The banter that they have back and forth, and their relationship that unravels over time. I just keep wanting to see the next line. It's really good.
Granted, that's fair because like I'm thinking about how like in Borderlands 2, Handsome Jack was such a pivotal character, and you mostly just hear him talking to you. So like that's a fair way to put it. I feel like there was somebody else that I felt like should have been on that list, and I'm blanking on who it was at the moment.
Keanu Reeves.
I should have wrote it down.
Everything. Being alive. He just deserves all the awards. I love him. He's great.
But yeah, then the next one I wanted to hit on was the best action adventure game, which ended up being Metroid Dread. I was surprised, but also very happy that Metroid Dread won that because, goddamn, it's a good game, and it's well deserved. I'm happy to see that Nintendo made some mark in there somewhere because this is it's weird that Nintendo didn't win other awards, and it's almost like It Takes Two stole a bunch of Nintendo awards.
Yeah,
because Nintendo.
Yeah, usually they have the family games on lock or like multiplayer games or
And
but
It
no
Takes Two
no
took
big
them
Mario
off.
games.
Yeah, no big Mario games. I mean, we had Mario Tennis and Mario Party.
Didn't the triple collection come out, or was that end of last year?
I'd have to double check on that. I think it was
But
pretty
also that
recently.
was like a remaster. There wasn't like a new experience that we haven't.
The Mario All Stars.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. It was Golf. Mario Golf came out this year, and the new Mario Party. But the last few Mario Parties haven't been great. So I don't know. It's interesting that I think that It Takes Two got the best family game because is it a family game?
It's a story about families.
I guess
it's a family game.
I mean,
it's a game about families.
I think literally. I think it also falls under family because it's like it's not brutal, it's not gruesome. It's
and I guess
friendly.
You can play it with any family member. Like if you were playing it with a kid or if a kid's playing it together, like you can do any combination of the co-op. So I guess it's just the tone and the nature is kind of depressing at some points for that game. Anyways, but then
I haven't played it because there's nobody in my life.
Same, dude, same. Louis, I'll play with you. I got you, bro. I got you.
Play with you guys. I will play it again with any of you if you need an extra person to finish up that story.
It takes two, but I am only one.
But I am one. I need the two.
Insert superimposed video of me pushing Brandy's head out of the way.
No, like Brandy and I played a good chunk of that game. We actually have to finish it still, but I'd be happy, to finish up with you guys if you want to give it another go. Like, it's a fun game. It's definitely fun. So I'd be down for that. We're not making plans on playing video games on this podcast. I'm sorry. Sorry, Pagan.
Yeah.
She doesn't care.
We're not. She's asleep. Let her. When she wakes up, then feel bad.
If she's sleeping, she's getting ready for a wedding. So,
future Pagan, I'm sorry. I love you.
So of course, while we're on the subject of It Takes Two, holy shit, did that win Game of the Year? Like, Pat, you called it.
Hey, I hadn't played it. It was I think it should win from what I've seen, but I just thought that traditionally the way that the Game of the Year award goes to, it's usually a darker, grittier story. Not that it has to be. I'm happy to see it change up, but that was my game. I wanted to win, but not what I thought would win. So I'm happy to be wrong.
All right.
Happy to be wrong that I'm right, that I'm left, that I'm right.
Yeah, exactly.
So even when you're wrong, you're right. which makes you wrong but right about it. Got it. Okay. I'm the same way. I mean, I'm
Derp.
not.
Yeah, but you were definitely. I feel like that was like the underdog. Like I want the underdog to win, and they did, and it's fantastic. It was great. Like I'm surprised like Resident Evil didn't get a little bit more mention. Ratchet and Clank didn't get anything. Psychonauts didn't get anything. Like how? I don't know. But again, that's because it was such a hard choice. Like so many great games. Like they're all great for so many reasons, and somebody had to win. And what's it? Joseph Ferris is the developer, the lead.
Something fair. I was just literally looking up his name right
Yeah.
now because it was funny to me that they make the comment of like, and we learned we're not giving you a mic this year.
Yeah.
Like earlier in the show, and then
Yeah, I mentioned that too. I was reiterating how like when It Takes Two won, was it best family or best multiplayer game, and Jeff Keighley like looks at him in the crowd and goes, "Haha, I learned not to give you a mic," because what was it back in? Was it 18 or 19 when they did an interview with him and he went off?
It was so good. It was so good though.
He's such a character.
Yeah. It made me want to support him. It made me want to see him win. Sometimes being boisterous will do that, but it seemed like he was speaking his truth, his experience, and he was just like he was kind of talking down about some big companies too, I think, and it was go off, King, go off.
Granted, he works for EA, so it's interesting.
Yeah.
That's a weird combo. Anyways, they won
F
Game of
the
the Year.
Oscars in the chat. That's what it was. F the Oscars.
F for the Oscars.
Do the Oscar. F for the Oscars. F.
F's in the chat for Oscar.
All right. So we're gonna wrap things up here pretty soon. The last thing that I wanted to hit on, and I wanted to ask you guys if you had the same thing, smaller games that stood out to me from the list of games that were shown or announced or got new trailers, and there was two for me that I watched the trailers and I went, "Ooh, I've not heard of this, but I like what I see." The first one was Planet of Lana. I don't know if you guys caught that one.
Yeah.
It was during the pre-show, I believe.
Yes.
And also Have a Nice Death. Both of those games hit a chord with me, and I was very interested by the trailers that were revealed.
It wasn't my game, so I appreciate that we can talk about that too. Yes, perfect. Yeah, Have a Nice Death looks a lot like Hollow Knight to me.
Right,
which I love.
That's
that
what
game.
I thought too. I thought it looked like Hollow Knight.
I think that character looks cute. I love the 2D Renaissance and this action platformer genre that has always been around, but seems to be a pretty popular thing these days. Love it so much.
Yeah, the gameplay looks rock solid in that game. The animation is beautiful. It's so quirky and funny looking. The whole thing of like Death is like raging out because his shitty desk job just sucks. So he's like, "Fuck it, I'm going out there and I'm reaping these souls myself." It's a great premise. And then the Planet of Lana, I don't know if it was any gameplay shown in that trailer, but like the way the music hit, the way it was orchestrated, the way it climaxed was just like, I don't know what this is, but damn, I want to see what it's going to be.
I want to see more of this world. I don't know, just some crazy desert side-scrolling
with the trotting like spider bot.
Yeah,
the spider bot that trotted and not just spider crawled.
Right, and then you got some perceived enemy robots kind of coming in, and even though I felt they looked kind of like the vehicle that you were on, so I can't tell who's really good and who's bad.
Yeah, right.
And then that cute little critter at the end.
Oh yeah, and like the way it chirped.
Yeah,
or like meeped or something. It was like beep.
Some Kina vibes for me with the I can't remember what they're called in that game. A sucker for adorable plushy size.
The rods.
The rods.
That's why it's hard to remember because their name is counterintuitive to how cute they are.
Yeah.
And I also want to say it wasn't the first time we saw it, but Somerville. I'm excited for Somerville, just because it's from the guys who made like Inside and Limbo.
Yes. Okay. No, I don't remember seeing the trailer at this show, but I've seen previous ones. And do we have a date on that one? Do you know if that's coming?
I don't think they gave it
early next year,
but you need to watch the new trailer for Somerville because they show so much more.
Okay.
So much more, including spaceships like flying around that they didn't show in the original trailer. That made me like, I didn't know what it was at first, and then I saw the clips of the old trailer, and I'm like, oh, this is that game from the it's a new studio from a guy who left Playdead. So
Okay.
let's hear what you guys saw. Like, was there a smaller games that you were interested in?
Yeah, Louis, do you want to start on this one? Did anything stand out to you?
I am thinking, and I'm looking at people in the chat like, give me something.
Okay.
I mean, Pat could fill in for you if you want
No,
to keep
yeah,
thinking.
no, yeah. I got one on deck here.
All I can really remember, like especially like the smaller stuff. Yeah, going ahead.
Yeah.
Going ahead.
All right.
So I'm gonna potentially butcher the name and assume that it's a silent T at the beginning, but I want to say it was called Chia.
Chia, yes.
TCHIA.
Yes.
Which
That's what I thought.
yeah, it featured a a small girl in an island, and all of a sudden it busts out some Breath of the Wild vibes. You're like, you're
Got the little
again,
sail.
more hang gliders, little sail, yes, and you're like landing on trees and using them to like propel you even farther forward. And then out of nowhere, she turns into like an object.
She can like
takes on-
embody creatures.
yeah, she's got this cute flower in her hair, and then all of a sudden, it's you because the item that you turn into, the animal, like they're objects or it's animals that you turn into.
Oh, that totally
And-
takes the premise of like Mario Odyssey when you put your hat
a little
on something
cappy,
and then
yeah.
you get this little hat.
Yeah,
cappy.
so you get the flower. And so it's taking these themes of these Nintendo games that I absolutely love and adore. And it's early; it's the first trailer I've seen for it. But I think it looks beautiful, and I think it looks fun. And I have no idea what's going on, but I just can't wait to learn more.
Mm.
That's actually the one I was trying to remember. I couldn't remember the name.
Ah,
But yeah, that one, I think that one kind of stole the show for a second. Because, you are getting both elements of Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild, and they're kind of being combined to make this amalgamation of what looks like a very cutesy game that any age group can play, as well as just looks fun and very interesting. It kind of reminds me of like Moana in a sense.
Yeah.
yeah. It's definitely that like
but you're
diversity.
Maui and
kind of
you're
thing.
this and you're that. Yeah, exactly. Like there was a lot of. I was really happy to see a lot of diversity.
Yeah.
Even
No,
though-
I mean the representation, super important. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we make sure that
chat
we have a
was less-
diversity, that we're not just all the white people we brought in, Louis.
as we both cut him off like twice in a row. Sorry.
Shut
Yeah,
up, Louis.
that's okay.
No, please, Louis.
No,
That immediately stood out to me. I was like, oh fuck, we just cut him off twice.
Please,
Talking about diversity
Louis,
here.
share with us that beautiful fake
Uh,
Spanish you know.
You guys probably don't want it. No. Just that, like the chat itself was pretty ugly. There was like half of the people that half of the people really liked it, and half of the people didn't. I just thought that was kind of funny that awesome game featuring white guy plays as a preview, and everyone's like, yeah, great, awesome. Anything of a person of color or vagina was shown on screen, and then all these politics, god damn it, like nobody
To
said
be clear,
anything
there
about
were no
politics.
vaginas on screen.
Well, not vaginas, but not penis holder. No
Yeah.
card carrying penis member.
Those are the same people that like get in an online game and they yell at girls who are playing, like, girls don't play video games. What are you doing here? Like,
Yeah, but they say that every match because every match has a girl fucking playing the game, and so it felt just like, oh my god, like, yeah, I don't want to dive too deep into it, but at the same time, it was kind of strange to see that half of the games that were shown had diversity of all different types, and the other half were pretty much the same, and nobody said anything about those games, but they all bitched as soon as they saw anything else. But it was good to see that there was so much representation. It was good to see that there were so many people being welcoming to it and just going like, oh my god, she looks badass. Like, luckily nobody bitched during the Horizon. Nobody said anything there. When that came out, I checked out the chat and everybody's like, yeah, it's awesome, totally good. I'm like, all right, so you know the game is good. But did you bitch before? Did you
people
say something
bitching
when
about
the
like
first
the
came out?
character model getting thicker. Like, what was that? Wasn't there a thing
Oh
going
yeah,
for a while
I
for Horizon?
remember that.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, like people were
Yeah.
bitching that her character model got a little thicker. Like, she got fat. Like, no, they just made her a little bit more realistic looking.
Yeah, the fight was you can have buff men, but you can't have buff chicks. It's like, well, the last time we had a buff chick, it was Abby,
Yeah,
and that
Didn't
didn't
go
go
so
well.
Mhm.
So you can't have it both ways, dude. So anyway, but beside all the thing, uh,
Game looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Shana is saying Quad Squad. That did remind me of one that we all kind of looked at and went like, "Huh." But the fact that we didn't remember it until now kind of throws a little hiccup in it, which was the Suicide Squad. That one actually
Mm,
looked pretty good.
I had that
yeah.
one noted down. That trailer really was like, okay, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, even Dad said, "Is this a good Avengers?"
Yeah. I was like, this is Avengers, but
Oh,
good.
yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, "Yeah, you know what? That one hurts, but yeah, I agree. It did look like it."
Yeah.
That and
So,
the Saints Row reboot. Every time I see more of that, I'm more and more excited to see where that game's gonna go.
I'm still
oh
a
my
little
God, I forgot
lukewarm on
about
the
that.
Saints Row reboot, but I'm excited and interested to see what it could
Sure.
be. I want the game to surprise me. I want it to subvert my expectations because I'm a
Yeah.
fan of the old Saints Rows and I want it to
I
be
don't
good
expect
again.
it to. I
Yeah.
don't expect it to one bit, but I'm just some mindless fun GTA, but like I don't want to
More
say fun,
crazy and
but
goofy.
like yeah,
It's
give me
fine.
more of that.
I
Just throw
love
me in that
Saints
city with a
Row.
giant, like 4-foot long dildo bat and let
Yep.
me beat people up with it. I'm good.
Give me
That's
no
what
one
I
North's voice.
liked. I liked the craziness. I
I
didn't
don't
like
have.
the
I have the
first
GAT
two.
statue. Oh, I have like my Saints Row, like the nuke button.
Hmm.
Oh my God.
Anyways, I have a
Yeah.
bunch of like
I
Saints Row
love
nonsense.
everything after two because the first two were a little too close. Like especially the first one, it was just GTA.
Yep.
It
Yep.
was
Yeah.
exactly GTA, and then it got a little weird at the end of them. The second one sucked until the ninjas came out, and then it's like, what the fuck is happening? And then you get the third one, which is just madness, and four, which is even worse. And I'm just like, yeah, this is what I want video games for. Like, it reminds me of the video game equivalent of the Fast and Furious franchise, which
Yeah.
is we're real. We're a very serious movie. Okay, we're serious, but not so much in them. But they had seven until they got weird.
We're going to the moon.
Yeah. Basically, it was just like, by the way, aliens exist, and you can kick them in the nuts to kill them. I don't know, fucking
Family.
throw it at the
Family.
board.
Family.
Family. As
Family.
long as you have Vin Diesel, just
So
go
a family.
As long as you have Vin Diesel talking about family, and you have Michelle Rodriguez dying, it's a movie. That's it. That's
I wanted to go
part
back
of the
quick and
franchise.
piggyback here. Emmanuel in the chat kept mentioning like Telltale, and like Telltale had a huge showing at this Game Awards too because they had The Expanse and Star Trek. I believe they announced 2 new games that they were working on, or was the
Was
Star Trek
a
game?
Telltale?
Was it? It was a Telltale like game. It might not have been Telltale. I could be
Okay.
wrong on that.
Okay.
I don't think it was Telltale, but
Okay.
that one was the one that kind of made me. I'm sorry.
It was definitely
didn't
a
like it.
Telltale like looking game though.
I just remember seeing the whole preview is just literally people walking and talking very slowly. And I'm like,
I mean that's kind of Star Trek in a nutshell.
yeah, I don't like to remember it that way.
Hmm.
I will
like
say
to
this:
remember
I never
lizard
liked Star
people
Trek. Yeah, I never liked Star Trek for the longest time until I started watching Next Generation a couple of years ago, and it's very intellectual and it's very like interesting. And I'm like, as an adult, I'm watching. I'm like, okay, I get this now. I get why people enjoy this show, and I enjoy it too. It's very much about the intrigue and the drama of what the characters are talking about, less so much what's happening. So it's kind of a different beast, but I understood it better as an adult watching that show. Because as a kid, I'm like, this is boring. All they do is talk. Why don't they go kill something?
It's kind of like not liking MASH because it's about wartime. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
they're nerds, you idiot.
Anyways, before we wrap things up here, did either of you guys have any final thoughts that you want to put up before we say goodnight?
I checked off all my boxes.
Cha-ching.
My boxes are checked off. What?
You're welcome.
World game of this podcast. All of my boxes have been checked.
Perfect. Yeah, I just
All
want
my
to
boss are checked
say again, I
now.
can't wait for Hellblade 2. I wish we had a date, but oh well. It's going to be great. I'm going to very patiently wait for Hellblade 2. Yeah, so with that, that's it for this live episode of the Replayer Podcast. A day late reactions to the Game Awards. Kind of, you missed the tears that I had to Hellblade 2's trailer last night, but they were real. I wasn't as deadpan as normal, but thank you guys for watching tonight. And that's going to be it for us. This is pretty much the end of the Replayer Podcast for this season. We will be back in January with some new episodes coming to you on YouTube as well as the Couch Soup website. So look forward to that. And with that, everyone, game over. Good night.
I'm going back to Halo.
Woo, Halo. Let's go.
Okay. I got on to test Halo last night, and they ended
This
up
is not
staying
tangent
on
time.
for
We're saying
about an
goodnight,
hour and a
Halo.
half. I'm just saying.
Okay.
It's a good game.
Let's go play
Bye.
Halo. Good night.
Go play Halo.
Bye. Are we there still?
There we go.